In the past 72 years since the People's Republic of China was founded on October 1, 1949, China has risen from a backward agrarian society to the world's second largest economy and the world's top manufacturing power. What are the keys to China's economic development under the leadership of the Communist Party of China? The first key is a continuation of bold policy planning and effective execution. During the first days of its foundation, China faced extreme poverty. In 1952, the Communist Party of China led the newly liberated areas to complete land reform. The farmers became the real masters of their land. In 1953, China started the first 5-year plan to develop its economy, which laid the foundation for the establishment of a complete industrial system. In 1956, China generally completed socialist transformation. Socialist political and economic systems were established. The following years witnessed remarkable achievements in socialist construction. The second key is the adaptive and truth-based self-correction under great turmoil and uncertainty. During the Great Leap Forward era, which coincided with the 3 years of natural disasters, the economic and social campaign that aimed for a rapid industrialization appears to have wrong-footed the economy. In November 1960, the CPC Central Committee urged maximum efforts to resolutely correct all various deviations in an urgent instruction letter. In January 1961, a party plenum decided on the implementation of an economic adjustment was held. In 1966, the Cultural Revolution broke out, putting the economy at a standstill until 1976. In August 1977, the 11th National Congress of the CPC declared the end of the Cultural Revolution and reiterated that the party's fundamental task was to build the country into a socialist modern power within the 20th century. The third key is the staunch commitments to reform and opening up despite all the ups and downs. In 1978, the third plenary session of the 11th Central Committee of the CPC was held, which marked the beginning of the reform and opening up era, as well as the socialist modernization. Soon after, the word individually owned businesses emerged, and the country's first special economic zone, the Shenzhen SEZ, was established in South China's Guangdong province. In 1982, the CPC released its first #1 central document on rural reform. The household responsibility system, first created by Xiaogang village in East China's Anhui province, was quickly introduced to the country. In 1986, when the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange visited China, Deng Xiaoping presented him with a stock certificate of Shanghai Feile Audio Video Company, valued at 50 yuan. It was a symbolic gesture to show that stocks and shareholding were not exclusive to capitalist systems. In 1992, the 14th National Congress of the CPC declared that by the end of the 20th century, China's economy and comprehensive strength would step up to a new level. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization, which marked a great leap in its opening up. In 2005, when China's GDP per capita exceeded $1,000, economic and social development entered a critical period. In 2008, the U.S. subprime mortgage crisis evolved into a global financial crisis. Under the circumstances, China adopted a proactive fiscal policy and moderately loose monetary policy, focusing on expanding domestic demand. In the second quarter of 2009, the Chinese economy started to rebound and grew by 9.2% for the year. In 2011, China's commodity trade rose from 6th to 2nd in the world. Its economic aggregate surpassed that of Germany and Japan to become the world's second largest economy after the United States. In 2012, the two centenary goals were put forth by the CPC at its 18th National Congress to build socialism with Chinese characteristics. The fourth key is the forward-looking and innovation-driven strategy. In 2013, China proposed the Belt and Road Initiative. In the past 8 years, China's trade in goods with partner countries exceeded $7.8 trillion. In April 2017, the Xiong'an New Area, North China's Hebei province, was established. As the CPC convened its 19th CPC National Congress in October 2017, a new era of China's socialism was declared. At this point, China's GDP had reached 82.08 trillion yuan, second in the world and about 15% of the global economy. At the same time, how to mitigate an increasingly hostile external environment marked by a relentless attempt by the U.S. to contain China's rise has been a particularly notable key in the country's economic strategy. In 2018, under the impact of the trade war initiated by the U.S. against China, the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee called for ensuring stability in employment, the financial sector, foreign trade, foreign investment, domestic investment, and expectations. In 2020, under the impact of the COVID-19 epidemic, the central government proposed maintaining security in jobs, basic living needs, operations of market entities, food and energy security, stable industrial and supply chains, and the normal functioning of primary level governments. With the economic fundamentals stabilized, China became the only major economy in the world to achieve economic growth in 2020. In 2021, on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the founding of the CPC, China held a national commendation conference to mark the country's accomplishments in extreme poverty eradication. After 8 years' efforts, nearly 100 million poor residents shook off poverty, which means that China has achieved the goals set in the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 10 years ahead of schedule. Looking ahead, the 14th five-year plan ending 2025 is set to pave the way for the second centenary goal to be attained, which is building a modern socialist power by 2049 when the PRC turns 100 years old. With all four keys listed above inserted into the decoder to unlock the doors to China's astonishing economic achievements, China is well positioned than ever to reach its bold development goal, to become a modern socialist power in the coming decade.